It is a beautiful wintry May day here in South Dakota. Let's get into the workshop. I'll show you some of the updates I've been working on. Hey guys, welcome to the workshop. As mentioned outside, we're going to be talking about some of the updates that I've been doing here in the workshop. Now I was going to do a video on each one of these projects, and at the last minute I decided not to for mainly two reasons. So the first reason is because I wanted to get them done all at once. I thought that I had a short amount of time to get it all done in, so I took that opportunity to just kind of push out everything that I could get finished up. And I was successful. The second reason is because it was a complete nightmare in here. It looked like I brought in sticks of dynamite, lit them, ran for dear life, and just everything just blew to smithereens. It was horrible. And there was some times that I could barely even walk in here. So I definitely didn't want to bring the camera in, set it up, potentially knock it over when I'm slinging crap, and set it down and it's uneven. I set it on a board and it just flops over. I just didn't want to mess up the camera. So that was probably the biggest reason I ended up not doing it. On top of that, with the camera, with filming, with framing the shots, sound, lighting, focusing, editing, all that takes a lot of time, and that goes back to the first reason, I guess, where I didn't want to do all that because I wanted to get this job done, these tasks done in a good amount of time and not have to worry about all the camera editing and all that fun stuff. I love doing it, but hey, it takes some time. So you may or may not have seen it a little bit ago, but the first update is this wood burning stove, new to the shop. What I was using before was a smaller propane tank that I cut down and essentially made a mini potbelly stove out of. Now this isn't a big workshop, it's 24 by 20, but that little potbelly stove heated this place very well. There were some days that I had to open the door up just to let some of the heat out because it was putting off so much heat. Why did I get rid of it? Well, it was small and compact, which is super good, but I got rid of it because it was small and compact, and I always had to cut the wood down just to fit it inside. So kind of inconvenient. Put this thing in, I've got no problems with that. The only issue that I have with it right now, and I knew that I would, is that it goes from an 8-inch into a 6-inch, so it's not drawing enough. So that is something before next winter I am gonna have to fix. I'm just gonna have to get bigger stovepipe and repipe all that. The second update is for the dust collector. Now I've already done a video for the dust collector itself. It's a Harbor Freight dust collector with a larger impeller, exhausted outside, and I built a theme baffle for it. You can watch that video by clicking on this link right here if you're interested. So what I finally got accomplished was getting everything plumbed out to the tool itself. I built all these main trunks and the blast gates to go to each piece. Now this blast gate will go to the miter saw. This one goes to the table saw station, and this one will eventually go up and over to the welding station so that I can pull out any of the smoke while welding so I'm not sucking it all in. So the main thing I wanted on this whole entire build was to make everything as simple as possible. I didn't want to do everything automated. I didn't want to get too complicated with it. I wanted everything right here so that I could come, open one, close the other one, and be ready to go. As far as turning the dust collector on and off, depending on where you're at in the shop, I try to make it, again, as simple and easy as possible. So I just installed a 3-way switch. If I'm on this side of the shop where the miter saw station is, I can turn it on. If I'm over in the welding area or behind the table saw, this one turns it off, vice versa. I can turn it back on over here. The third update is the miter saw station. Very simple, but super effective. The box is basically the dust collection box. It's not perfect, but it definitely does keep a ton of the dust from flying back out in my face or into the workshop, so I'm fine with that. I left everything open underneath because I've got the small miter saw under here that I can just pull out and take outside if I'm doing anything outside. I've got a place now to store all my fasteners, nuts and bolts. And then of course, the coolest part, I personally think, is the refrigerator for the beer. I spend a ton of time out here, and the beer fridge is in the garage out that way. So it was just kind of a hassle to go get a beer, and every time I wanted one, I had to go up there. So now, hey, I got a fridge. So that's nice. The only other thing that I really want to do to this is add the fence with a stop block. So if I have to do any repetitive cutting, that I can just set that stop block up. I gotta get a sticky tape to put on there. So even if I don't have to do repetitive cuts, I can still measure out super quick. I don't have to measure out and mark. So that's something that I still have to do for the miter saw station. Next up is the table saw / table saw station. I say station because there are a couple things that I want to do with this. First, I'll go through what it was. So this is a Cobalt Contractor saw, and for the price that I paid for it, it's actually a pretty decent saw, surprisingly. The biggest problem was the fence on it. The fence was just kind of a pain. You had to adjust both ends, and it was just a pain. It took a while if you had to make a bunch of different cuts. The next one was on a job site contractor saw. They all have the stands that flip up, and they work, but you can't really cut very big stuff with them. I had this thing out, and I was trying to cut something a little bit too big than what I should have, and I almost kind of flipped over the whole saw. I knew better, and yet I still did it. So don't do that. But what I ended up doing, I pretty much used what I had. That goes for everything. Pretty much in here is stuff that I had, or I'd spent very little bit of money. Again, keeping it simple, keeping it effective, keeping it cheap. All this stuff in here is essentially scrap. All the plywood across the front was old forming plywood that we use for our walls, our concrete walls. I just kind of sanded them up and made them look pretty. The fence, I found this fence online, the plans for it online. I'll leave a link below for it if you guys are interested, and you guys can make the same. It's simple to make. It's actually a very nice fence. You know, you can slide it, and as soon as you lock this cam down, it is locked in there tight. So pretty stoked about that. As far as what I have to do for this entire station, I got to get another tape for this side and put a pointer on this so I can make the quick adjustments so I don't have to measure. Simple to do. Up front, I left enough room for two reasons. One, I wanted to kind of have an outfeed table. And if I do need any more of an outfeed table, I did make this high enough that I can roll my main workbench over and I put it right in front, and then I've got even more of an outfeed. But right here, I would like to put a router so that I can kind of have a table router. And I had thought about maybe right here, building kind of like a sanding station that's plumbed into the dust collector, so I can come here, sand, and everything gets pulled down while I'm sanding. But that might be something that I actually do a video on later on, now that I've got this main thing built. So round front, I'll show you some details. So you'll see that I got two access doors, and I build this thing so that I can expand easily. Like I was talking about putting a router here, I've got access right inside. I've got access for the back of the table saw to hook up my dust collector, and or expanding, I can always easily build onto there. So the dust collection trunk that comes into this access is actually going to be used for many things. With a simple coupling, I can hook it up this is the piece that will go, that does go to the table saw. I can hook it up. If I want to use the shop vac, I got another coupling that I just pull out another shop vac hose, slip that on, and I can vacuum the floor. Also underneath here is the planer. It is just on rollers right now. I don't use a planer that often. So for now, I just lift it up, I'll set it on here, hook it up to the dust collector, and then I can cut away. But I think later on, I do want to build a stand that rolls out and locks and maybe has like a flip up to get my height. And then I can start feeding the boards in. So the last update I got for you is basically expanding the metal fabrication and blacksmithing area. You can see I got a header right here. This used to be a wall. The workshop itself used to only be a 16 by 20. I put a lean-to on it for extra storage. Since I built the barn, rebuilt the barn, I've moved everything that was in here into the barn and knocked this wall down. So now the workshop has expanded 8 extra feet. So I've got room for my metalworking and wood storage right over here. So this is where we're at in the build process and the project process. I still have to build some shelving units to just kind of store everything, work on the actual fabricating table, and then add some more lights for in here. But it is pretty exciting that the blacksmithing and all that stuff has expanded out this way. So now I've got more room to beat on things, basically. So this is it. This is what's been going on inside the workshop for the past couple of weeks. I really didn't want to make this a workshop tour video because I never had anyone say, hey, what's your workshop look like? I don't think anyone cares. I just wanted to put something out there to show you guys what I've been working on, some of the projects that I've been doing. Because like I said, I wasn't able to get a video out last week. So this is what I've been doing for the past couple of weeks, trying to knock this stuff out. So hopefully you got something out of it. If you've seen something and you want some more information on it, let me know. Comment below. I'll be more than happy to try to help. I'll give you all the information that I possibly can. And if you see something, or if you didn't see anything that might make my life a little easier or might make it things flow a little better in here, please comment below. I'm always up for any suggestions that you guys might have. Hope you guys liked the video. Take care. Thanks for watching, guys.